March 1974. It had been 29 years since World War II had ended. Peace and happiness had spread everywhere. But in the Lubang Island of the Philippines, inside a dense and terrifying jungle, a soldier was still fighting a war. His uniform was torn in many places, but his rifle and sword were still shining. This man was none other than an intelligence officer of the Japanese Imperial Army, who was still fighting alone even 29 years after World War II had ended, and that too against the American forces. Just think, when the whole world was celebrating peace, new cities were being built, and people had forgotten old wars. At that same time, this man was fighting a war alone, a war that had already ended years ago. His name was Hiroo Onoda. For him, time had stopped in 1944. He believed that the enemy was still lying in ambush, and as soon as he stepped out of the jungle, he would be captured. But here a question arises. How can a human being become so insane? How can a person survive alone for 29 years, without any supply and help, completely cut off from the world? For the world, World War II ended in 1945. But in reality, it stopped in 1974. Because technically, a war continues until the last soldier surrenders. Was this only a soldier's duty, or his stubbornness, that made him the last prisoner of World War II? Once again, welcome to Smart Afasi Videos. Ladies and gentlemen, Hiroo Onoda was born in 1922 in a small village of Japan, but this was not the Japan we know today, the Japan of robots and technology. This was a Japan that dreamed of conquering the world. At that time, when a child took his first step, he was not taught how to walk, but how to die for the emperor. Onoda's childhood was not spent in games, but under strict discipline, in an environment where the word surrender did not even exist. From childhood, they were taught that death was better than surrender in war. Onoda was also a product of this military environment, where loyalty meant considering every order of the commander as the order of God. In 1944, World War II was at its peak. Japan was fighting against America and its allies. The situation had become very serious, and Japan was badly losing this war. But the Japanese High Command made one last decision. They decided to create special guerrilla soldiers who could secretly enter enemy territory and create destruction from inside. Hiroo Onoda was one of those selected soldiers who was sent to Nakano Military School for guerrilla warfare training. This was not an ordinary military school. Here, Onoda was trained in intelligence, espionage, and secret attacks. He was taught how to survive alone in the jungle, how to burn enemy supply lines, and how to weaken a whole army through guerrilla tactics. But the most important order was given by his commander. After completing training, the commander looked into his eyes and said, "You must never surrender under any condition. Remember this clearly. You are not even allowed to commit suicide. No matter what happens, whether it takes 3 years or 5 years, we will come back for you. Until then, you must continue your mission and never let the enemy rest in peace." These words created a fire inside Onoda, a fire that would not cool down for 29 years. For this mission, Onoda was sent to Lubang Island in the Philippines. This was a small island, completely covered with thick forests. From a military point of view, this island was very important for Japan, because enemy supply routes passed through here. Now Onoda became an intelligence officer, and his mission was serious. Disrupt and destroy, meaning attack enemy supply lines secretly, keep watch on them, and turn the jungle into hell for the enemy. He had to stay on this mission until the Japanese army returned to take him back. No matter how many years it took, 5 years or even 10 years, but just 1 year after Onoda reached Lubang Island, in August 1945, the world saw something for the first time: the use of nuclear weapons. America dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which shocked the entire world. After this attack, Japan officially surrendered, and World War II ended. But on Lubang Island, there was no one to tell Onoda this truth. On Lubang Island, Hiroo Onoda still did not know that the war had ended. He was still hiding in the jungle with his remaining companions. He believed that the enemy was still lying in wait, and that Japan would return for him. Allied forces knew that Japanese soldiers were still hiding on the island, so they dropped thousands of leaflets from the sky. On those leaflets it was written, "Japan has surrendered. The war is over. Come down from the mountains." But Onoda did not believe it. He thought it was a trick by the enemy to catch him and his men, because he was trained to believe that the enemy always lies and spreads false information to break your mind. Onoda's only belief was, until my commander comes back, the war is not over. And time kept passing. Years turned into decades. Slowly, one by one, his companions left him. Some surrendered, some died, and finally Onoda was completely alone, living like a ghost in the jungle. He survived on bananas, coconuts, and stolen rice from local farms. Sometimes he hunted animals for food and dried the meat under the sun. But in his mind, the war was still going on. He even attacked local villagers and police, thinking they were enemies. Many people were killed or injured during these years, but Onoda was never caught because his training was too strong. Years passed, and the world moved forward, but Onoda stayed in the same time, stuck in 1944, then in 1974. A Japanese explorer named Norio Suzuki came to find him. He met Onoda in the jungle and told him, "Japan has changed. The war is over." But Onoda said, "I will only believe my commander." Finally, the Japanese government found his former commander, Major Taniguchi. He was brought to Lubang Island. When Onoda saw him, he stood in attention and saluted. His commander then read a written order. "Officer Onoda, the war is over. Japan has surrendered. Your mission is complete. Lay down your weapons." At that moment, after 29 years, Onoda finally accepted the truth. He lowered his rifle and ended his war. When he returned to Japan, he was welcomed as a national hero, but he also felt sadness for the people he had killed, thinking they were enemies. He later donated money and created a scholarship for the island people to help those who suffered because of him. On January 16, 2014, at the age of 91, Hiroo Onoda died in Tokyo due to heart failure. His war had ended long ago, but his belief kept him fighting for 29 years. A soldier who won his personal war, but lost to time itself. If you like this incredible story of Hiroo Onoda, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Smart Ufasi for more such amazing and historical content. What do you think? Was Onoda a true hero or just a victim of his thoughts? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.